The Pacific Classic gave us Flightline last year. Who's it going to give us this year?
Today's video is brought to you by Assiniboia Downs Gaming and Event Center. Be sure to tune into this channel live Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Monday Night Lights, hosted by Trust the Profits.
Trust the Profits. It's a formula here, and we are going to be doing a full field rundown of the 2023 Pacific Classic. What is that you say? The Pacific Classic? Well, we've got the probables and possibles here, and it is a stout field, I must say. I mean, it is rivaling the field that we saw this past week at the Travers, I would say. Just the West Coast version of it. September 2nd at Del Mar. It's a G1, 10 furlongs. That is a mile and a quarter on dirt. Let's dive into it. Let's find out who those horses are. Stiletto Boy at the top. Stiletto Boy. Yeah, last time out, sixth place at the Stephen Foster, running in a G1, 4 lengths behind West Willpower there. Stiletto Boy, I you do the addition on those numbers, falls in the money quite a bit, but only 4 wins out of those 23 races. So you're going to see a lot of places and shows from Stiletto Boy. Example, third place at the Oaklawn Handicap, losing by a head to Proxy and Last Samurai in that one. Winner at the Santa Anita Handicap, a G1, by a neck over Proxy and Defunded. Running against some of the horses that you're probably going to see in this race. Third place at the Pegasus, finishing 5 lengths behind after setting the pace in that one. Ran in the Pacific Classic in 2022. But yeah, Flightline was in that race, as we spoke about at the jump. 36 lengths behind Flightline in that one. I think the closest horse to Flightline was 19 lengths behind. It's a pace stalker, hits the board a lot, wins with less frequency. A possible underneath play is Stiletto Boy, but unlikely winner. Moving on to Defunded, 18 races, 7 wins in those races. Fourth place finished the San Diego Handicap, losing by 3 lengths to Senior Buscador. I think Defunded was my pick in that race. Gate to wire win at the Hollywood Gold Cup, beating Piroli by 1 length there. Won the Californian, where he came from 6th place at the 3/4 mile mark, more than 3 lengths behind to win by 3 lengths over the other 3 horses in that race. Came in third at the Santa Anita Handicap, losing to Stiletto Boy, the horse we just mentioned, and Proxy in that one. 4 wins in the last 7 races for Defunded. It's a horse that sort of came on late, I would say, in his third year, and has started to power through. Looked pretty strong for Bob Baffert. And he's shown that he could be both the pace setter and a deep closer at times. Interested to see how it's going to play out for Defunded here. One of the 2 Baffert horses we're expecting to be in this race. Slow down, Andy. 12 races, 4 wins, 4 second places, 2 third place finishes. It's only twice finished outside of the money. Last time out, probably most impressive race at the San Diego Handicap. Second place finish by just over 1 length to Senior Buscador. In a race that featured a lot of really strong horses. 6th place at the Metropolitan, losing by 10 lengths in a deep field. Cody's Wish, Zandon, White Abarrio. But again, he was coming off a 7-month layoff there, being thrust into the Metropolitan. So you can understand why he may not have had his best showing at that point. Third place at the Breeders' Cup Mile, losing by less than 2 lengths to Cody's Wish and Cyberknife. Winner at the Del Mar Derby. Now we're going way back. Yeah, so as we mentioned before, only twice outside the money. Once was after the long layoff. This is a horse much like Stiletto Boy, maybe even more so than Stiletto Boy, although less of a career so far. Has been a very good in the money showing horse. Slow down, Andy. Go Rocket Ride. Whoo! Flying up the charts after that Haskell showing, right? 3 wins in 4 races. It seems like, I don't want to say it seems like this horse has been around a lot longer. We all know it's a 3-year-old. However, it seems like this horse has raced more often. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't seem like it's only been 4 races for Go Rocket Ride, a horse that was on the Derby Trail up until, very close to the bitter end. But a big win at the Haskell Stakes, beating Mage by almost 2 lengths in a field that also had Arabian Night and Tapit Trice. Arabian Night being the horse that I picked for that race. A win in June in the Affirmed Stakes in Santa Anita, going 8.5 furlongs, winning by 1 3/4 lengths over Mr. Fisk. As we said before, scratched out of the Santa Anita Derby, falling off of the Derby Trail. Previously came in second place to Practical Move in the San Felipe Stakes. Stalked Hijazi for most of the race in that one, overtook him, but then was overtaken by practical move at the bitter end there. Um, and then the race where he broke his maiden. 4 races, how much can you say? Really, a lot of this falls on the Haskell, the impressive showing he's had there, everything that led up to the Derby before the injury that he had that took him out of Santa Anita. Yeah, Go Rocket Ride, going to be high on a lot of people's list, possibly the morning line favorite. Tripoli, probably not the morning line favorite. 26 races, 5 wins for Tripoli. Last out, fifth place finish at the San Diego Handicap, 3 lengths behind Senior Buscador in that race. So, race that we talked about for a couple horses already. Starting out the race at 8, improved 3 spots. Still not enough to be in the money, though. Fourth place finish to Katona at the Pleasanton Mile. Third place finished at the All American at Golden Gate. We're starting to talk about Tripoli in terms of the recent races he's had, but a lot of these, other than San Diego, have not been graded stakes races. He had pretty strong 2021. Um, Struggled in graded stakes races other than his Pacific Classic win in 2021. But there was a launch off point for him there. Seems to have taken it down another step here and not really played down to classing down, if you will. Tripoli, maybe he's going to pull out a rabbit out of the hat here, but this is a pretty big race for him to do it. Maybe he's looking for some of the Pacific Classic magic he had 2 years ago. We shall see. Arabian Night, much like Go Rocket Ride, on the Derby Trail, was taken off even earlier than Go Rocket Ride. 2 wins in 3 races, one third place finish. Last out, third place finish at the Haskell Stakes, having led at the half and the 3/4 mile, dueling with Go Rocket Ride early in the stretch, but in the end, finishing 3+ lengths behind. So in that race, Go Rocket Ride definitely prevailed and showed that he was the class of the West, if you will. Won the Southwest Stakes, but we're going back to January 2023. You have to remember Haskell Stakes. I want to say that that was his first race back after the Southwest Stakes in January. So we're talking about January to July. Slow Down Andy also had a bit of a bump getting ready for his first race after 7 months. Arabian Night, third place in a very deep Haskell Stakes. Looked pretty good, I would say, even though he didn't have the kick toward the end. Classic Baffert Pace Bully, second race since a long layoff. What are we going to see from Arabian Night here? Senior Buscador, we talked about him a bit, mostly talking about him in relation to the San Diego Handicap, a race where a lot of horses are filtering into this race from. Closing from 8th place at the 3/4 mile mark, winning by more than a length over Slow Down Andy in that race. 6 wins in 12 races, so winning 50% of the time, but only finishing in the money a little bit over 50% of the time. Because if he doesn't win, he's probably out of the money. It looks like in only 12 races, but still, 5th place at the Hollywood Gold Cup, 6 lengths behind Defunded, a horse that's in this race. 4th place finish at the 9 furlong Oaklawn Handicap behind Proxy, Last Samurai, Stiletto Boy. And he did run in the big ass Dirty Mile. Feels dirty just saying that. Um, in that race, finishing eighth out of 9 horses behind Cody's Wish and Cyberknife. Uh, don't know what you're going to get from Senior Buscador. He has some ups and downs. This is a horse. I think Colin Sheehan is going to find a way to bet Senior Buscador here. He's a guy on our site who does seem to tend to favor Senior Buscador. This is a horse, yeah. My last note here: struggles in G1s and G2s, but has had success in G3s, and that was up until he did run in the San Diego Handicap. But I'm still going to hold on to that and see whether that maintains here. I still think he might have some struggles getting into these higher tiers. We'll see what happens. Katona, a little bit of an unknown here, right? So the only stakes race this horse has run in is the Pleasanton Mile, and it was a 3+ length victory for him over Tripoli and CZ Rocket. A couple notable horses in there. CZ Rocket still around. How about that? 4 wins in all of 2023. Mainly claiming races though in Santa Anita, mostly one-turn races. So you got a couple mile races in there, a couple 6 furlong races. And I think only one time I noticed him stretching out to 8.5 furlongs, or maybe 1 mile, 70 yards, something like that. Um, the fact that we're bumping up to 10 furlongs here, I don't know if that really favors Katona, in my opinion. Obviously, the trainers probably know more than I do about this horse, just based on what I'm reading, just based on what I'm seeing. classing up, leveling up in terms of distance, it's going to be a big step up for Katona. If he pulls this off, you are going to be holding and you bet on him, you're going to be holding a pretty valuable ticket. Paroli. So this is the last of our probables. Paroli, 3 wins in 14 races, second place finish at the Hollywood Gold Cup, and this is a horse that I had as an Instatoss, and he did end up finishing second to Defunded. Darn it! Came in third in an allowance claiming race before that. Won an allowance claiming race before that. This is a horse that did class up to go to the Gold Cup. Ended up having a nice deep close day for him where he ended up passing a few horses in that Hollywood Gold Cup. Is he going to be able to repeat it? I mean, the one thing you can point to is in the money percentage here. 9 races out of 14 has been pretty good. One of them being the Gold Cup. Is he going to be able to pull it off in this deep field, though? Knowing what we know about the field, or guessing what we know about the field today, Paroli, I am not exactly sure if I'm going to put him in my box yet. Moving on, Order and Law. We're getting into possibles. We got 2 possibles here. Definitely the horse that's had the longest race history, 42 races, only 8 of them wins. Last time out, won the Cougar 2 stakes in Del Mar. Oh, come on. Spell check on this. Del Mar, one word, please. He did go 1.5 miles in that race. So we're talking some pretty deep distance, beating Azul Coast by over 2 lengths. Not a hugely deep field, but I mean, anytime you win at that distance, comparable distances, even when classing up, I think there's something impressive about that. Previous to that, though, raced in 5 claiming races, varying results. 3 times he was in the money. Definitely feels like he favors the distance, even though he's not a pure distance runner. Hasn't shown that, he's run like 4 or 5 of these long distance races in a row, has gone down to about a mile here and there. But definitely looking at that last race and thinking, Order and Law, there could be a reason he gets entered here. And finally, Skinner. This is a fascinating horse here, one that hasn't won all that much. He's in the money 5 times out of 7, right? A lot of 3 third place finishes out of 7 as well. Last time out, ran second at the Los Alamitos Derby, 2.5 lengths behind Reincarnate in that one in a 5-horse race. Third at the San Felipe. Pardon me. But yeah, let's back it up and talk about Skinner. At one point, it looked like he was going into the Derby, and he was a bit of a sexy pick for the Derby. A lot of people were jumping on the Skinner train before he scratched out of that. Thing a lot of people liked was that he was getting pretty close to some of these deeper horses here. I mean, let's look at the San Felipe. He finished third in that race, but he was only half a length behind Practical Move and Mandarin Hero. So it's pretty impressive company you're putting yourself in. Those were 2 horses that were highly thought of going into the Derby as well. And on top of that, you have the Curlin pedigree. And you're talking about going these longer distances. This is a 10 furlong race. So it probably does set up well for Skinner fans out there to say that this is the horse, this is the race, this is the type of race this horse is set up for, not these little 6 furlong, maiden claiming races at Golden Gate or whatever. I could see there being a case set up here for Skinner. As of right now, he is a possible as opposed to a probable. So I think that brings us to the end. Sure does. In summary, I am nothing if not consistent. Am I? I don't know, maybe. Both of these horses I've got here, I've got safe and value. And again, we don't have odds at this point, so I'm really going out on a limb here and saying that my safe play is going to be Arabian Night and my value play is Defunded. I know. I'm picking 2 Baffert horses here. I'm not even sure which one is going to be the safe and which one's going to be the value based on the morning line odds. But I'm just going to assume that Arabian Night is going to get chalkier odds than Defunded. I think they both play out well in this race. I've been consistently supporting them, consistently putting them in play. Anyway, Arabian Night. I think that since this is his second race off the long layoff, you're going to see a major rebound here from him. Defunded, I also feel like he's a horse that has been, how should I say, not up and down, but he does start to bunch together wins, and I think right about now is for him to add another win to his win column. In terms of Keen, I do really like Go Rocket Ride. The consistency from that horse has been really strong. I honestly, you could put Go Rocket Ride or Arabian Night as your key here. I put Go Rocket Ride originally. I probably should have swapped out to Arabian Night since he was my safe pick. Um, just verbalizing that to you now, even though it says otherwise on my slide. But let me just go through this. One of those two as your key. I think they're the safest ones to hit the money. Defunded comes after that. And then Slow Down Andy. I really think you get some value from Slow Down Andy here, and he has been very good at hitting the money. Other than those times when he's had a long layoff, I think he's starting to class up. He's starting to show that he is part of this class. I think he's starting to prove that over the last few races. And based on who else is in this race, I think that there's going to be some money, being taken to some higher level horses. Slow Down Andy could squeak in there for you. That's all I have to say about the matter. So there you go. That is my early look before we actually see who gets entered into the Pacific Classic. It's going to be a great race. If any of those horses are going to be entered in, if it looks anything like the field that we just looked at, it's going to be spectacular. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and let us know what you think in the comments. See you.